Hello, welcome to the channel. Are you all well? I do hope so. Today we're going to tie a dry fly, and it is a floating nymph. You may well ask, what is a floating nymph? When flies are hatching on the surface of the river, not all of them make it. Some of them die as soon as they've hatched and don't even leave the water surface. So these flies just remain on the surface and drift downstream. And from below, it looks like an easy meal for the trout. So that's what we're trying to emulate. And in the vise, I have a size 16 dry fly hook, and I'm tying with 10/0 grey olive thread. I'm going to start that just a little bit behind the eye, wind on the thread, and trim up the excess. Now for the tail, I'm going to use a couple of coquelicot fibres. Now you don't have to use coquelicot fibres, it's just 2 fibres, and if you wanted to use microfibers or maybe paintbrush bristles, whatever you like to use. We don't need them too long, so I'll pull those back just a little. Just try and level them up. There. That's better. And wind down to the rear of the hook shank. And I'm going to put one wrap underneath just to lift them, separate them, and one wrap, tie them down, and trim off the excess. Now there is going to be a rib as such, and it's a body hackle. So I'm using this dun collar, and I'm going to take off just one feather, one hackle. It doesn't need to be bushy. Just get rid of this fluff at the bottom and trim up the butt and tie it in. And bind down the stem. And back down to the rear of the hook shank. Now for the body, I'm going to use some light olive kapok. Now you can use anything you like as long as it's a fairly fine dubbing. And kapok is particularly known for its flotation capabilities. So it seems to me to be an ideal material for this fly. Try and keep it thin at the rear. Build it up as you go along the body. I'll put on just a little bit more. So that you have it just a little bit thicker at the thorax area. Keep it tight, like so. And now I'm going to wind on the body hackle. Keep the wraps fairly close together. Up to the thorax area and tie off the hackle. And trim up the excess. Pull those hackles back. Right, now for the thorax cover, I'm going to use one CDC feather. I'm going to tie that in on top and pull it through to about the length of the fly. Bind it down and trim up the excess. Just tidy up. Now for the thorax, I'm going to use a little bit of hare's ear, and just to change the colour and to differentiate between the body and the thorax. Won't need a lot. Just a couple of wraps. Pull those fibres back, tidy up. And now I'm going to pull over the thorax cover. Give it a couple of wraps and one underneath. And I'm going to take out the centre stem from the feather. And we want to separate this more or less in half. Try and get all these fibres together. One wrap that way. Pull back the fibres on this side and tie them down. Right, now I'm going to use a half hitch tool to tie off the fly. And trim up the thread. I'm going to put just a little bit of glue onto the thread. Make sure that the eye is clear. Let's just have a look at this. And the fly is pretty well complete. It's a very simple tying and emulates perfectly this dead fly floating on the surface. There's a loose fibre or two there. I'm going to just trim those up. Do give it a go. Hope you enjoyed the tying. Don't hesitate to share it, give it a like, and I'll see you in the next video.